Whoa. Things are changing. The whole paradigm is shifting, and we're talking about that in space. NXT UK content comes together, draped in gold. Hello, everyone. My name is Flobo Boys, and I am having the time of my life, but I'm not alone. I'm talking about the guy I just listened to on the Mac Mania podcast this week. Give it up for Jack Farmer. How's it going, sir?
It's been a crazy week. It's been a great week. It's been a crazy week. The world is topsy-turvy, but I'm having a good time. If I could talk about myself for a minute, and I guess that's what you're introing me for.
All right, Lance Dorr.
I have it's not if I can be serious for a minute. It's if I could talk about myself for a minute. I just finished training over at Santino Brothers here in Southern California. So got that finished and hoping to get some more action, hosting, commentary, announcing, all that good stuff going forward. But really enjoyed that process over there. If you're in Southern California and want to get involved in pro wrestling, definitely check out Santino Bros.
Well, don't lie to me, Jack. You know deep down inside you're going to be that commentator or manager that gets pulled into a storyline. You have to wrestle. So what's the finishing move called?
Obviously, it's Jack's Hammer. It's a jackhammer called Jack's Hammer. The setup is Jack's Knife Powerbomb.
Why don't you be like very puny? Like, stay down. I love it.
I appreciate that you assume I'm going to have a finisher.
Right.
Because that would imply I'm going to win.
He's like blocking my face. That's a finisher. What's up, Mike Wesley? Thanks for coming out. And if you guys are watching right now on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, or on Twitch, make sure to drop some comments, especially on that Twitch, man. I need those followers. Hit a follow. Subscribe if you like me. It'd be kind of fun to get that sweet content. Jack, it's been a crazy time in NXT. We'll get to that in a minute, but NXT UK is no slouch. They have a little bit of a progression themselves. Let's start with the main event, which really wasn't a main event. It was a replay of Walter Dragunov 2 with added bonus commentary DVD material. Thoughts about the match? Or thoughts about the commentary? Thoughts about the presentation? Thoughts about replaying it?
I thought it was really cool. I think it was the right call. People who have seen the match already may be a little bit crabby about the fact that they've already seen this match and that now they're watching it again. But a couple things. One, it was a great match. So who cares? Two, I think that NXT UK and the viewers there deserve the right to play that match and get to see that match on their show. I think they deserve it. They've earned it. They should get to show that. And as far as the extra commentary, I thought it was really cool showing a bunch of other wrestlers and how they saw it and what they thought about it and their thoughts going through it. A lot of it's interesting. It was all wrestlers from, I guess, you could say represent UK. But I would have liked to see actual NXT UK wrestlers give their thoughts on it as well. I'm sure from a production standpoint, it's like, hey, we're backstage at SmackDown. Let's just do it now.
But just saying Eddie Dennis. Just say you want Eddie Dennis to do it.
I do want Eddie Dennis to give his feedback on.
He's only fan.
He does some very smart feedback and commentary and probably be able to tell us how they could make that match so much more efficient and effective.
He does. Okay, fine. I'm not even going to do that because I know Eddie Dennis, you're tight now. I got to put you feet to the fire, head to the wall. Dragunov 1 or Dragunov 2? Which one do you prefer and for what reason?
I like Dragunov Walter 1 more personally. I mean, come on, we're splitting hairs. I like number 1 more because 1, I thought that you got it was the first time seeing it. So it was all fresh and new. And it was a bit of a surprise because you didn't realize just how good these guys were going to be. I mean, it was going to be good, but I think when you're talking about that level of good, it's a bit of a surprise no matter who's in the ring. So I would say number 1, if I was to pick one of the two.
Yeah. I'm the same boat, man. I understand it's NXT TakeOver, bigger stage, more eyeballs are on it, but there's something about Andy Shepherd and Nigel McGuinness, man. How on commentary, that just to me means the world. And that gave that first one that extra dose of magic personally. But hey, come at me, bro.
I do. That was part of me. I kind of felt like I wish I got to hear Nigel and Andy call the Walter Dragunov 2. I would have liked to hear them get to do that call. And I kind of wish that they did that match in NXT UK. But I think it's good for the brand to be able to showcase that in front of the American crowd as well.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about things that are good for the brand. Pretty Deadly have a match about next week with Gallus. This time it's going to be Joe Coffey and Mark Coffey, and they're all about it, all confident about being able to retain. Talk about someone who represents the brand. We're talking about this before you went live. You were saying these guys are ready for the show. These guys are ready for the top flight limelight. Jack Farmer, como?
Yeah, you can see and tell what they look for on Raw and on SmackDown. And I think that Pretty Deadly checked those boxes. I mean, they look great, they wrestle great, they're fun on the microphone. They can be pretty, they can be deadly, they can do it all.
It's right to the brand.
I really do. I can imagine them on Raw taking on the New Day. I could easily see them going on and taking on the Street Profits. I could see them in those matches, and they fit right in very easily as well. So I think they're ready. I think I could see them against anyone under the WWE umbrella, and it makes sense. It doesn't feel like fantasy booking. It feels like, yeah, that fits. That looks logical.
High praise for Stoker. And how late do they retain next week, or you have other plans?
100% they retain.
Whoa!
Not even close. They're pretty
Dallas,
deadly,
baby.
The second word in the name "Pretty Deadly" is still deadly, Flobo. They're gonna get that win. Gallus, I've said for a while, I'm going to continue, and we might talk about it in a little bit, but Gallus, for as much as they want to celebrate as they go plowing through the hallways, they're still a fractured group. They just don't know it yet. They're still falling apart at the seams. They just haven't come to grips with it yet.
Let's talk about this now. So in the backstage area, Gallus, which happened after Wolfgang's match, we'll talk about it a little bit later in the show, they were having time of life. In fact, they're having a party on Wolfie Wins, which is a dope chant. I totally forgot by the time that show aired in this show. Jordan Devlin didn't like it, got involved. It sees Gallus are having a good time. Looks like wins are happening back for them. Maybe the run of bad form is over, and Jordan Devlin may be a stepping stone, but you're saying otherwise. You're saying Gallus is already fractured.
Yeah, this is the problem with Gallus right now. Not only their house isn't in order. This is called as we see it. Mark Coffey and Wolfgang, they're still going at it. Joe Coffey has been eating losses and not dealing with the fact that his team is fighting amongst themselves. Maybe not directly, but it's a bit of we'll call it a cold war in Gallus right now.
I get it.
And right now, they also can't seem to stay focused, whether it's Joe Coffey figuring out if he's going to face Rampage or if he's going to be a tag team specialist, or whether or not it's Wolfgang trying to figure out if he's going to take on Mark Coffey and show him he's better than him, or be a part of the Heritage Cup tournament, or picking fights with Jordan Devlin. I get that it's fun as a viewer to see them do all this stuff and not try to batten down the hatches within themselves. But look, Jordan Devlin's a killer. He's going to pick these guys apart and eat them alive.
He's a killer. He's wearing a house coat. What are you talking about?
Well, fashion is separate from.
I love it.
But I think Devlin's the kind of guy that if I see this stuff, then Devlin sees this stuff, and Devlin's going to use that to pick these guys apart. On their best day, Gallus can take on anybody. I just don't think this is Gallus's best day.
Well, I mean, despite that, we had ourselves the top of the show today was a number one contenders Heritage Cup tournament, Wolfgang of Gallus against Sam Gradwell. And we'll get to the Sam Gradwell story in just a moment, but Wolfgang did walk away the victor here. Maybe this could be a sign of something great. Maybe Gallus is back to its old form. Maybe this is just the harbinger of good things to come for the boys on top.
When you're as competitive as you have to be to make it in NXT UK, you can't be happy when someone else is getting wins in a Heritage Cup tournament, especially if you're named Mark Coffey and you just made a bet with that guy that you can win more matches than him.
Oh,
I know he's on the outside clapping and cheering, but I know inside Mark's heart, it's eating at him. I know it's bothering him. I know he's unhappy. And I think the worst thing that could happen to Gallus is Wolfgang going all the way and winning the Heritage Cup, because that will not sit well with Mark Coffey. And I know Joe Coffey likes to be the guy in the singles division. I don't think that'll sit well with him either. I think the worst thing that could happen to Gallus is Wolfgang making it all the way through the Heritage Cup.
Honestly, what chance does Wolfgang have on a realistic level of going all the way and becoming the number one contender?
The next round will decide. And the reason I say this is when you look at who's left, right? You've got Noam Dar, you've got Kenny Williams, and you got Tio Man. Wolfgang, outweighs all of them by a lot. And he's going to be able to use that size advantage to throw these guys around and really take advantage. And I think he can get the wins. The only issue is Teoman's vicious, and he loves to take advantage of people's injuries and pull people apart. And right now, Wolfgang's got that injured shoulder. And I know he knows that. And I think he's going to take advantage of that. Not just take advantage of that. I think he's going to go for the kill with that. So if Wolfgang can get past him, I think he's got a shot. But it's a huge if to assume he's going to make it past the next round.
Okay. So what do you got? Teoman and Wolfgang. And don't tell me the fans. Okay.
The fans. It's always the fans.
It's always the fans. Yeah.
The best cop out answer is the fans, by the way.
Absolutely. The best cop out. But you pick Teoman.
Teoman, yeah. He's someone he's unbeaten, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're not mistaken. Matches. Yeah.
And again, he's just got that killer instinct that no one else has. And if there is even a drop of blood in the water, a great white's going to take advantage of it. And Teoman's a great white.
Ah, fair enough. But let's talk about Sam Gradwell, the guy on the losing end of this matchup. And, well, Sam Gradwell is, one of Jack's favorites, not named Eddie Dennis. He has all the tools, which is something we always say about wrestlers who don't really achieve the way we want to. But what does Sam Gradwell have to do to stop losing Jack?
So I said on Twitter, man, we got to give Sam Gradwell more respect for his mic game. He's so funny. He comes out and says, I'm going to honorably wobble your jowls, which is one of my favorite things I think I've ever heard said. And
very British.
He's very intelligent. I know, again, he says these funny things, but he's very intelligent. The way he used the rules was different than anyone I've seen use the rules in Heritage Cup before. The way he was maximizing things like that, the countouts of the ring and finding ways to get some rest on the outside. I think if his ribs were 100%, this would be a different outcome. But they are what they are. And, all respect to Wolfgang. I mean, I love that. I can't remember what he called it, but it was like that body slam into a cutter kind of move was incredibly cool, by the way. Do you know, does he have a name for that move?
I don't, not to my knowledge.
But in any case, I thought it looked really cool. He went for the spear 3 times before it finally connected, but I think that shows how good Gradwell is. He was able to dodge it twice. Probably would have dodged it the third time, but again, if your ribs are hurt, you can't move that quickly, that often, that much. And it is what it is. He lost, but I think I would put Gradwell in that same category as Pretty Deadly, as someone I could see in a match on SmackDown, especially. We don't like to get too far into the news and the rumblings and the rumors and the murmurs, but when you think about what they look for on Raw and SmackDown, they're looking for guys who are big, who are chiseled, and who are great.
I can't support this. I can't support this, Jack. You're off the rails. You're off the rails. You can't tell me here. So I literally asked you about a guy who can't string 2 wins together, and you want to promote him to SmackDown? Are you kidding me? You have to win matches first.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Please do.
I think what happens here, there's different types of losses, right? Okay. Some people lose because they're just not there yet. They're unranked. They're not talented. This is a situation where Sam Gradwell found himself in a match where he was already injured, but he had already signed up for the match, so he was stuck with the match. Again, if he wasn't injured, he would have won this match. And I think anyone who understands promotion and booking sees that. And I think if you're in the States, if you're in SmackDown, if you're on Raw, you see that and you're like, look, this guy, I could put on a microphone and have him sell tickets, have him in matches, just staring face to face with all the big dudes over there too. He's got all the tools. You said he has all the tools. I think he'd fit over there.
Wow. Well, you will fit over there, but I don't know. I don't see why any, Phantom general manager, Adam Pearce, would say, that's the guy I want on my brand because he can't win 3 matches in a row. I'm just saying, Jack. Just putting it out there. Look, putting it out there.
I will say this. I'm sure he loves being over in NXT UK, and he's got a great setup over there. But if he ever wanted to go to NXT stateside, all he'd have to do is show up and say he has a match. William Regal probably would just be like, oh, you do? Okay. And that happened.
Why are you such a hater, William? You know what? I'm not going to ask that question because I know it's some kind of propaganda they've been feeding you, man. Leave William Regal alone. But speaking of GM shenanigans, we have Blair Davenport got a ruling from Sid Scala, who's out of his neck brace after a week of being totally manhandled, and she is suspended indefinitely. What say you? Is this a passport to another promotion, another brand? Do you think this is she's gonna come back in UK? Is she done? What's going on?
You are such a fan of William Regal, and you've been watching for so long. You are absolutely perplexed by the idea of a GM actually reprimanding the wrestlers who break the rules.
Assistant GM.
That's all this is. He's just saying, look, you broke the rules. You're suspended. There's nothing more to it.
Took him a week.
If you weren't so infatuated with William Regal,
he's nice.
You would know that is how it works. If you attack the general manager, you get suspended. William Regal, on the other hand, yeah, he's going to say, I don't know. War games. I don't know.
You're awful. Leave William Regal alone.
William Regal is like Russian roulette, except instead of a bullet, it's the war games. It's like
every November.
Like you don't know. Every time he talks, you don't know what he's going to say. He's going to say it. War games.
Yeah, we pop hard.
Yeah. I will say, I like to make fun of William Regal, but war games I pop for every time.
You're a WCW guy. Yeah. So basically, UK needs war games to put Blair Davenport in as punishment, or
I would love. Oh, could you imagine an NXT UK war games? That would be. People would die. I think.
Yeah, people would die. Like if Dragunov has that thing above his eye for the past month, and he had a regular matchup, jeepers.
Did you see his collarbone? Just insane. Like, and that was from a singles match. Could you imagine a war games match?
Yeah. The UK brand doesn't need Extreme Rules. It doesn't at all.
No. Extreme Rules in NXT UK is the Heritage Cup.
Exactly. Yeah. All you can use is your time will save you. But yeah, my thoughts about the Blair Davenport thing. I'm hoping it's kind of an injury, a phantom injury, and she can come back healthier. Otherwise, it's kind of curious that there's a whole big to do about this. I feel like attacking a general manager is a big deal. You wouldn't want to pull that switch unless it was something important.
So when do you expect to see her back? Do you think it's going to be a couple weeks and then she's back, or do you think it's going to be like vignettes that we keep seeing her like, I can't wait till my suspension is over, or do you think she's going to be gone for a long time?
I'm thinking 2 to 3 months. If it's within 6 weeks, there's no reason to write anyone off, right? Because there's enough talent that rotates in 4 to 5 week blocks. Like, when was the last time we saw guys like Ashton Smith, or even here's a perfect example of Josh Morrell. Like, Josh Morrell hasn't been on TV for 7 weeks, but no one's asking about him. I don't think that if it was in that little time frame, it would be worthy of this. That's why I kind of thought it's interesting that Sis Gala got involved. As someone who's been intimidated for years and years and years, but no one ever touched him. But Blair was like, screw it.
Does that not make her seem like a more dangerous person, though? No one else was willing to touch him, but she was willing to slam him.
I know, but to me, it was too early. Like, she only had 2 matches before that. And then one of them was our match away to Nina Samuels, which I know you love her. I know she's the top of the Jack Farmer power rankings, but her win-loss record is abysmal. So, like, that wasn't really enough to be like, oh, wow, badass. It's more like, oh, she looked like she could beat me up. Sure.
Do you think she's more of a badass now?
I mean, yeah, the guy had a neck brace on last week, man.
So if she came back in a week, she'd still be more of a badass, right?
I guess. Like, you were suspended indefinitely. Are you doing the I bought the ticket in the front row trick from the 90s? Are you bringing the Zamboni? Like, what are you just gonna show up backstage?
Don't besmirch the I bought a front row ticket bit. That works every time.
So WCW. Hey, you can't let me out. This giant comically large ticket for the cameras.
That works every time for me. I will not have you naysay. It's a great idea.
Wrestling has potholes. Fine. But let's talk about, to me, the match of the week, y'all. Symbiosis had a 6-man tag against Saxon Huxley, Ashton Smith, and Oliver Carter. And guess what? News flash. My boy, Smith and Carter, gets the win with tandem offense. And Symbiosis are running back with their tails between their legs, which I think they have tails, but one's a primate, and primates only have tails. This is a chimpanzee. Whatever. Point being, there's actual win on Ashton Smith's column, and Symbiosis is saddled with another loss. Jack Farmer, these guys are your guys, but they don't look intimidating at all.
I like how primate is the one you're worried about not having a tail, but a T-bone, sure. T-bones have tails.
Yeah, absolutely. You didn't know that?
Where are you getting your T-bones? I guess
Not the cow.
I guess they do before they're a Tebow. I guess before they're separated from the rest of the cow.
I'll have the slab of meat and the tail, please.
So look, lightning strikes every now and again. It's going to hit somewhere. It happens, Not everyone stays undefeated. Even the great Undertaker lost a couple of matches at WrestleMania.
You're not comparing them. No, you're not comparing them.
So if Undertaker's going to lose a match at WrestleMania every now and again, twice, then it makes sense that once Eddie Dennis might not come up with a win. It happens, even to the Undertaker. I mean, John Cena tapped out one time. Things happen,
He did. So, that was what, No Way Out 2003, 2004?
Yeah. So if these things happen, then I don't think we need to get too worked up over an Eddie Dennis loss.
First of all, how dare you compare Eddie Dennis to The Undertaker? And second of all, Eddie Dennis is losing a whole lot. Look, you told me about a couple months ago when they culled the herd, but wild boar out to pasture. Well, your words, not mine. This is a new, improved hunt, bigger and better than the hunt, symbiosis. But now the win-loss record is saying they're not nearly as effective as the hunt. This was a bad trade if there was one there, Jack.
I hate that you used my actual, those were, I think, my literal words.
Yeah, I think of stuff. I remember stuff.
So first, the most important thing is I did not compare Eddie Dennis to The Undertaker. I compared The Undertaker to Eddie Dennis.
Oh my God.
I think that, again, when you play chess, and Eddie Dennis is a chess master. Eddie Dennis is a strategist. When you play chess, Flobo, not checkers. I know you're more of a checkers guy, but when you play chess,
true, I like checkers.
Sometimes you got to sacrifice a few pawns. It happens. That's how you set up the big win. You got to wait for everything to play out, Flobo. Right now, they lost a pawn. Whoopsie daisy, big deal.
You call it a pawn if the king Eddie Dennis was in the match getting slapped around?
I wouldn't call it slapped around. I mean, did you see him hit that? I'm blanking on the name. That move where he holds him and then he spins him and he slams him down, kind of like a rock bottom slam. He was kicking guys in the face. He was looking bigger and stronger than ever before. He was orchestrating a great move, and I think right now he's just luring. He's luring these other three into a false sense of security, and that's when he's going to take the king. That's how you play chess.
Well, last note on this one, I always talk and I lament about how Oliver Carter and Ashton Smith don't get a chance to really string some wins together, quite like your boy Sam Bradwell, but they get one here, and I'm hoping this is the start of something as far as the runners are concerned. I'm not sure if I like Ashton better as a tag team or a singles competitor or an alliance kind of thing, but hey, a win is a win is a win, especially over Eddie Dennis. Hey.
I have to say, I got to give credit where credit's due to those two as well. Smith and Carter are is Smith and Carter something else? That's the name for something?
It sounds like a law firm, doesn't it? No,
yeah, no. I think it's Smith and Wesson is a gun, right?
Smith and Wesson, yeah. Caden Carter, Casey Catanzaro, or Wesley and Ash Carter, yeah.
So Smith and Carter, I always say, as far as tag teams on the NXT UK brand, I have to give them the credit. They're the most fluid. They work together better than anybody else. I think they've got the best combination of speed and strength. And I know right now we've got Jack Stars and David Mastiff, who have a good combination of speed and strength. But I would still give it to Smith and Carter as far as being able to maximize those differences the best. I think their offense and their moves are second to none in the tag team division. The fact that they haven't gotten wins, so I know you're a big fan of them, so I like to tease a little bit. But the fact that they haven't gotten wins so far is similar to what I was saying before. I think they just need to get that momentum going, and this might be a momentum changer for them.
Tournaments. That's how you solve things. Tournaments. I want a tag team tournament.
You could do tournaments every month, and I'd be like, sweet. I love it. I love tournaments.
Classic as hell. Before we move on to NXT Prime, any last words about NXT UK?
Yeah, I thought this was a fun episode. Lots of cool stuff. Lots of interesting things happening. Okay. It wasn't their best episode to date. Still some good stuff happened. Again, we've moved forward with the NXT UK Heritage Cup. That reminds me, by the way, that video package of Noam Dar versus Kenny Williams was
happening.
Plus.
Really? I had no idea what was going on.
I loved it.
I had no idea what was going on there.
They
I was
were
like, what are
taking
they?
shots at each other. I'm a stand-out. You're a stand-in. I loved it. I can't wait to see these two go at it. I have no idea who's going to come across the winner. But just an example of this.
God bless you, Jack.
What?
God bless you, because I was like, what is going on?
I loved it. I thought it was great. I can't wait to see both of them. I like both competitors. I think it's going to be an incredible matchup. I have no idea who's going to come out the winner.
Wow. Well, there you go. Before we head on to NXT Prime, I'm just going to say Jack Farmer is appearing on the Mac Mania podcast, a Spotify original presented by The Ringer. Every Tuesday evening, you get to see Jack. Let's see. You can listen to Jack say all the things wrong about professional wrestling across all different brands and promotions. Make sure to check out the Mac Mania podcast every Tuesday.
Hey, you're on there as well. You've got some cool segments as well. You have the Am I Wrong segment, which sparked some debate this week. So
everyone hates me.
Definitely worth checking out the MacMania podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Well, let's talk about NXT this week, because this is basically a season finale. The writing's on the wall there, Jack. Wale is in my ears. There's rainbow paint being tossed everywhere. A new NXT is coming next week, September 14th, which is actually the same day as Index's wedding. I'll imagine that. But what we had this week was a little bit of a holding pattern, that darkness at nightclub. I don't really want to go too much into nitty-gritty here because we don't really know what things are going to go on beyond this week. So let's think of it as a bottle episode. But first things first. What is the deal with that bachelorette party this week? I have no. That was kind of fun, having this bro moment between Dexter Lumis and Johnny Gargano, and then you have Indy Hartwell leading your own bachelorette party. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, it was my pull away front was I want to see wrestlers outside of the arena more, doing stuff and who they are in real life. It doesn't have to be bachelorette parties and bachelor parties all the time, but I think it's cool to see them out doing things in real life. It adds a life to them that they exist outside of wrestling, and it gives them all a little bit more character, I thought.
What about the whole Viking Rating Street Profits thing from last year when they did the 10 challenges outside?
Well, that's the thing. I don't think they need to necessarily be silly all the time, and I don't think they need to be, you don't need to be a Viking trying to dunk a basketball. It doesn't need to be silly, but I think showing people living their life outside in different ways adds a little bit more weight to who their character is. I think you can do things. He's not on NXT anymore, but like Damian Priest, him being at a nightclub in Hollywood makes me feel like he is who he is even more, and seeing these people or seeing Hit Row in a recording studio, I think adds to that kind of stuff. So I want to see more of them outside. That said, I thought this was really fun. I thought it was a fun way to mix up a lot of characters you'd never see together otherwise.
Yeah.
I thought that my favorite part I thought was the bachelor party, because one, great seeing Cameron Grimes throw some money around. I think my favorite concept the whole time was that they brought back the zombie referee.
Right, yeah.
I totally loved that. I couldn't believe they brought that back. And I loved that he had like a Canadian accent at the end of the show.
Right. And the fact that Johnny's like, oh, why'd you invite this guy? Didn't you like hate him? Yeah. It was like, that's fine.
Yeah. So those were all cool things that this showed me more about who Cameron Grimes is than a lot of other things. And Cameron Grimes had a lot of these out of the arena setups. But even, you get to see Odyssey Jones, you get to see Drake Maverick, and you get to see them interact in a way that isn't just walking down a hallway going, I want to have a fight with you. You get to see who they are. I thought that was really cool.
Elliot Fletcher says, I could see the version of this if Cameron Grimes didn't pay for it. Bachelor brunches. That's it. We're going to IHOP. I enjoyed it. The axe throwing thing was great. Seeing Dexter actually take time to teach someone something, like how a serial killer would teach an apprentice, was pretty awesome.
Did you so this is my thought going into it, going out of it. And again, we're looking at this episode like in a vacuum because we don't know what's coming next week.
Yeah.
But something resonated with me. I had a thought at the end of this. At the end of this, it seemed like Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae were friends again. They're close again. Seemed a bit like Johnny Gargano and Dexter Lumis. They finally high-five. They finally like each other.
Okay.
Everyone's happy. Going into a wedding next week on her wrestling show. what is going to be the thing that goes wrong next week? Because you know that this wedding isn't going off without a hitch. So what is it going to be that happens that makes this go wrong? Because right now everyone seems friendly.
Well, first of all, how dare you think that weddings go wrong in wrestling? I mean, come on. And two, what about Austin Theory? Is he still in the storyline, or has he already moved on? Is he still kidnapped the second time?
I don't know. See, that was my thought, is maybe Austin Theory will show up and mess things up because he's the one that's been gone. But I don't know what his status is. I don't know what's going on with him, and it'll be interesting though. That's what makes weddings in wrestling fun, is you never know who it's going to be.
Exactly. Like Elliot says here, whoever crashes the wedding is going to be the biggest heel in the business. Imagine.
So Nia Jax, huh?
Nia Jax NXT confirmed. I'm not like most girls.
Yeah. I have a quick question to you about the potential change. I don't want to derail because I know we're just going to look at this as a thing, but from a marketing standpoint or a business standpoint or whatever, a hypothetical, do you think them not really explaining what that change is creates excitement to tune in to see what it's going to be? Or do you think they should have explained it a little bit more so we could know what we're getting? Does that make sense?
It's a good question. I think they've done, the plan they did was great, but they needed more steps. So having the logo appear one week, the logo with the rainbows, and play with the flash one week, and having the arena thing could have been more to that. You don't want to reveal everything too much because it looks like such a departure that you don't want people to pick it apart and not give it a shot before. You want some intrigue to be like, what is this? But I will say one of the problems WWE has in mass, and I'm talking about every brand ever, is that things are just so like, oh, by the way, tune in Friday to the show. But you're not giving a reason to tune into the show. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we know they're getting married next week, but to think that is going to carry your your first debut was only, I think the storyline got like, 4 or 5 weeks to build up. And then I think there's also a title match as well. But that's what I'm saying. So, like, I like what you're doing. I like the mystery of it all, but they could have done a lot more to promote the individual aspects of, hey, you know what this is going to be presentation-wise, but William Regal has an announcement. That's what Dynamite does. Oh, you don't know what the hell's going on, but we're going to have a tournament. Like, that's what UK does, you know?
Yeah, interesting. No, and that's all fair points to me. Because my thought going through all this is I'm excited to see. I am very excited to tune in and see how it's going to look next week, but I also find myself now watching this going, do I need to watch this, or is it not going to matter next week? Is it going to be a game show next week? Is it going to be basically the same thing with new branding and new arena next week? You know what I mean? Like that's why I ask, because that's what makes me curious.
So let's go through some of these things where I think are pretty much over with. Like Mei Ying of Tian Sha had a match this week against Virginia Ferry. And the match was pretty quick. There was flashes of brilliance, but not quite. So since Xia Li went AWOL for whatever reason, probably injury, probably end of the storyline, Boa got defeated a couple weeks ago. I forget this guy's name, Zion Quinn, I think his name was.
Zion Quinn, something like that, yeah.
But then Mei Ying had her match. She won, but it was quick. It really didn't hit home for me. Does this mean, in your opinion, if you were the magical GM, knowing there's a new NXT next week, do you kill off Tian Sha?
I don't think you kill it off. There's always something, there's still meat on the bone there. You just had them win. I think Mei Ying is still mysterious and interesting. But I think that they need to figure out what their next thing is going to be. I don't know what their original plans were. I don't know what they were hoping for, but right now it does feel a little bit like you gotta give me something. Being unstoppable is in the ring is cool, but I also need to know you're more than just unstoppable, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And of course, it's a cynical person would say, well, Shang-Chi did come out of Marvel this week, Other side of the other storylines, I think, that may not survive the big snap of Thanos. Diamond Mine, this time the Creed brothers. The Creed brothers had a match against Chucky Viola and Paxton Averill now. Okay. Hey, if someone gives me a ticket to the show, why the heck not, right? If someone says, here's a chance for you to be a professional wrestler, why the hell not? But I got to be honest with you. Those two guys do not look like they're named Brutus and Julius. Jack?
Does anyone name their kid Brutus anymore?
No idea.
Like, could you imagine like getting your baby like, you know what he looks like?
Yeah.
A Brutus. So I thought they look strong. They look talented. I mean, they ran over some guys. It reminded me very much like early 90s tag teams where they're just called the Creed brothers and they just dress the same, you know? I can imagine any random pairing of people and you just call them brothers and you dress them the same and that's their team.
Yeah.
It still doesn't answer the questions we've had about Diamond Mine, which is, what is it? It's okay. You got two big tag team guys, but it's a training camp. It's trying to be like an MMA training camp. Like when you're, a part of one of those, I'm blanking on all the fight team names from UFC, but,
like Gracie Barra or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So that to me, is that what it is? Is that just all it's trying to be? But again, that comes back to, so their goal is to win matches and titles. That's literal. Guess what? Mei Ying wants the same thing. So, guess what? LA Knight wants the same thing. Guess what? Carmelo Hayes wants the same thing. Santos Escobar wants the same thing. It doesn't really, I don't really get it.
You know? It just seems very derivative of Imperium, which is, even though I don't like people make jokes and say they're Jimperium, it's kind of like that. It's like, all right, well, there really isn't as disciplined as that version, but they are fighting, and Roderick Strong's a leader, but he, whatever. The more I think about it, the more I get offended.
Yeah. I mean, I like some of the part. I'm a huge Roderick Strong fan, by the way.
I mean, I am too. That's what makes it so tragic. That makes it so tragic.
So yeah, to your point, even Imperium has sort of a presence to them, whether you like them or not. I love, I've always been an Imperium fan, but there's like a presence, whether it be the music or the way they carry themselves. It feels like something, even if it's just, we respect the ring. I don't know if maybe it just needs time. I don't know if Diamond Mine has a presence yet, because I don't really get. It doesn't help that they've changed members so early either, I guess. But I don't really get it. I don't really understand what it is yet.
To me, telltale sign is when Beth was like, "Make it stop." Not even like pin her already. It was like, "Make this stop." She knew.
The parts are great. I just don't know if the group is equal to the sum of the parts.
Well, moving on to women's tag team action, Para Jumper Zoe Stark and Io Shirai took on Casey Carter and Kaden Cannon. Casey Cannon and Kaden Carter. It was an odd match one, but it was kind of cool seeing the tandem offense of the champs. They retained. Zoe Stark seems to be destined for main roster greatness, and Io Shirai is always in top form. But Casey and Kaden, man, this is their loss, but this one feels different. This one kind of feels like a minor bump to the way to the top. To the moon, Jack.
So you think this is a bump on their continued rise?
Yeah.
This is another group I love, but man, you just gave me a hard time about old Sam Gradwell.
I didn't put him on SmackDown. I didn't put him on SmackDown.
You gave me a hard time about Symbiosis. So now we got a team again. I feel like they're a team that people would get behind or are getting behind. I think they're very lovable. I think they're someone that'd be very easy to root for. But as one of the few legit women's tag teams on NXT, they're like, this is what we are, a tag team first. It feels like there's not a lot of success for them over the past since they started. And at some point, your whole thing is being a tag team in a division that's filled with single stars who are doing tag teams. Like, if you're not succeeding, I feel like at some point you guys say, look, this isn't working. Maybe it's best to go our separate ways. Maybe it's best for Casey to try her own thing. Maybe it's best for Kaden to try her own thing.
They're flip-flopping. I mean, they do it like the best flip-flops ever.
They're flim-flams.
They're flim-flamming, yeah.
No, they're great. They're great like that. But at some point, you got to say, we're losing every weekend or every week.
They're the control, man. They're the base level of the competition, because we saw Mandy Rose get involved after the match, right? Because they're establishing a new tag team. Of course, it's always at their expense. So you go after the establishment to shock the system.
So, but if you're always if you're the person that everyone beats up to show that they're dominant, is it really worth being that person?
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole world full of gatekeepers here. Jack Stars,
But
Baron Corbin's. It's all right. QT Marshall's. It's gatekeeper, baby.
Jack Stars though said, "I don't want to be the gatekeeper. I'm going to get a tag team partner and not be the gatekeeper anymore."
Fair enough.
QT Marshall said, "I'm going to get the factory to make me not the gatekeeper." Baron Corbin decided he's going to get poor and rich again or whatever. I don't know.
Kind of a roundabout way to not be a gatekeeper. I'm gonna become poor and rich again.
he took the scenic route, but
yeah,
I mean, at some point you gotta say, like, are you happy being the person everyone beats down to make a statement, or do you want to start getting some wins? And I think, as an idea, I'm not against them being a team. I think they're cool, but when was the last time they had 3 matches in a row they won?
Good question. I guess it's a great question because it's a question I asked you half an hour ago. I hate that. I hate that. But speaking about
using my words against me, it goes the other way.
It's like playing the game of Uno with Jack. Reverse. Speaking about people who are gatekeepers, man, Kaylee Ray had a match that opened the show against former NXT Women's Champion Ember Moon, and Ember wasn't in top 4 to begin with. She got pretty handedly defeated, and even after that, she was like, "I'm gonna go find myself. It's not working, man." Kaylee Ray did pretty well, Jack. Thoughts about this? Kaylee Ray's rise in the first match, and Ember Moon's being deep in thought?
Kaylee Ray, I've always been a fan of. I was a fan of her when she was the Forever Champion. She's still my women's champion of NXT.
Whatever.
But she's going to be a problem for this women's division. She is going to make wins like this very common for people who don't watch NXT UK. You don't know what you're about to see. She's going to come in and she's going to start ragdolling these girls. She's going to start tying them into balloon animals. She's going to start getting wins. And I hope that you've seen enough of your favorite wrestler because she's about ready to beat them down.
Wow. So this is pretty much inevitable then for Kaylee Ray. So why is Ember Moon so upset? Why'd she hate life then?
Because she was the first. She's in a tough. She made her point very well. I thought she spoke very well about how she lost her tag team partner. She's losing matches. I don't know what she's going to do to rediscover herself or get back on track. It's got to be frustrating to be Ember Moon. I mean, things aren't going well for you on Raw, so you come back to NXT and you do well, but then things stop going well for you. It's tough. It's got to be tough where she's at. I know she's talented. I know she's got a look. I know she's able to wrestle well. We keep saying it checks all the boxes, but she needs to find a way to get those wins.
I wonder what's going on. Is this going to be another quitting angle? Is this going to be a brand switch? Is this going to be a attitude adjustment, heel turn? I don't know. No idea.
She'll come back as leader of Diamond Mine.
Oh my God! All the ideas we have uncooked. Diamond Mine, Diamond Mine.
I mean, it's tough. I don't know if she goes to find another tag team partner because she was having success as a tag team. Maybe she goes and tries to find another tag team partner. Maybe she goes back to the main roster. Maybe she just takes a few weeks off and comes back recharged. I don't know. She's got everything you want, though. She's just got to find a way to start making it work.
Well, Santos Escobar was also in competition this week, this time against Carmelo Hayes. Santos Escobar got the win, surprising as it was for me. I thought Carmelo was red hot. Jack Farmer, Santos Escobar has been an absolute terror in that mid-card, if I could say that insider term. Thoughts?
Yeah, Escobar, I've said before, I don't know if I said via text or on the show, I think he's the MVP of NXT right now. I think when you look at who he's faced off with, they all go on to do very big things, whether or not it was his rivalry with Karrion Kross, who ended up getting called up and it became an NXT champion, whether his rivalry with Swerve before he created Hit Row, and now they're still going at it. I think, if anything, this is a blessing for Carmelo Hayes to get his ass kicked, to be working with him. Everyone else seems to do well whenever they get near Santos Escobar. So I thought this was a fun match. I thought they had a great match. I think Carmelo Hayes, still young, showed that he's got all the tools. He's someone that, speaking of McMania, I said he was a farmer's market pick, the original on that show. I think he's got some big things ahead of him. This was match of the week, I think, for me.
Yeah, I have it here too. This match was so crisp. Future Takeover match, my favorite of the week. Damn, Carmelo easily best dress of the week. Ha!
I agree. I rarely agree on all fronts, but yeah, I agree on all fronts.
Thanks for that qualifier. I never agree with you. Oh
Yeah,
my
I
god.
mean, usually you're a huge idiot, but I guess this time.
Elliot Fletcher says, I think Carmelo Hayes is going to beat Swerve for the title. So you think he was going to choose a North American championship? Do you think he's going to go NA side there, Jack?
Certainly feels like it. I mean, he's in these matchups. He's messing with Escobar. It feels like he's going to go for it. Unless he holds on to that contract for a while, it almost seemed like a Punk move to like pick a fight with Escobar, lose, and then go, I'm going to go after Kushida. You know?
Right.
It'd feel like a little bit of a Punk move. And I think out of principle, he won't do that. Though it would be interesting. I don't know. Maybe see him pair up with Odyssey Jones and say, let's go after the tag team titles, or see him go up against Samoa Joe or someone like that. But it does definitely feel like North American title.
That's fair. And of course, we had the other match here, kind of our main event, MSK all night and all day against Lorcan and Burch, NXT Tag Team Championships. We're on the line. MSK gets the win. But what happens after the match? It raises a bunch of questions for me, Jack. I don't mean burning ones. So it seems that Burch and Lorcan are out of the gang, man. This could be the end for them.
Yeah, it looks like they're out of the gang. It looks like Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland are trimming up. They're tightening things up. They're circling the wagons. They're not accepting failure here. If you're a team that wants to run a division and your specific tag team loses a shot at the tag team titles, what are they there for? What do you have a tag team for if they can't get the job done? They had everything there they needed to get the win. They didn't get it done. If you're being honest with yourself, Flobo, if this is your team, why do you keep a tag team that can't win the titles?
That's a very valid point, but it looks like all four guys will go to the same pub after work. I hate that. Why break them up?
Maybe they still do. They just sit at different tables.
What's the point? Oh, there comes Oni. You know,
maybe they're friends later, and they do that thing where they see each other and they take a sip and they go, and they smile at each other, and then they go back to what they're doing and keep on.
How's it going, mate? Oh, yeah. Again, LA says, I agree with Dunn and Holland. Lorcan and Burch were only part of the group because McAfee was paying them to be there after the injured Ridge. Good point. But so was Holland. Rich Holland was the first person Pat McAfee paid, and he said he got a Mercedes out of the deal until he got injured. So I don't know there, Elliot. I don't know.
But yeah, I think the bigger statement will be what happens after next week, because there is that four-way match for a shot at the title, and Pete Dunne is in it with Rich Holland at ringside. So I think how that plays out will answer a lot more questions than anything we could come up with today, because
he's favored to win that. He's been staring at Samoa Joe for 6 months.
I mean, he should win. If he doesn't win, then if you're Rich Holland, why have a main event guy in your group if he can't seal the deal to become the champion?
Yeah. I mean, look, the more I think about it, and I was going to ask you about MSK's run in a second, but the more I think about it, as much as I like Joe as champion, he seems like he has the big transitional sticker on his back. I mean, whether or not it's LA Knight's game or Pete Dunne gets involved, that championship has always eluded Pete Dunne. They've been staring each other down for so long. It may be Pete Dunne by the end of the year.
I would love Pete Dunne as NXT champion. I think he'd be fantastic at it. Obviously, he was an amazing NXT UK champion as well. I wonder if the reason Samoa Joe feels transitional is because only two guys have come back and won the title, and that was Finn Balor and now Samoa Joe. And both times it felt a little bit like they were there to take it off one person and hand it to the next. I wonder if it's because of where he came from more than what he's doing.
Maybe that is. Maybe it is his long pedigree. Maybe it is because we haven't seen him as featured as much now after winning the title. But yeah, I'm waiting to see who's going to win that one next week. My last question about this match, though, is MSK. These guys are the champions, but they don't really see them as often. They're kind of doing that Raquel Gonzalez thing where you kind of see them and you go, oh, yeah, they're the champs. Thoughts on their run so far?
It's interesting because every time they come out, they're memorable. They do great stuff. They got the great look. They sound good on a microphone, but you're right. It doesn't feel like we get to see them do these things very often. So you do find yourself kind of forgetting who the champions are. I think what they need to really stick this title run and really make it feel legitimate is they need that true emotional rivalry, that true heated, hate-fueled rivalry. Not just, hey, I'm the number one contender, you're the champion, let's have a match, but like something where they really hate each other. I don't know who's going to step up and be that team, but they need someone who's going to really push them beyond just let's have a match and really see what happens when things get heated with them.
I felt like that was an opportunity with GYV, but that was already used already. So, yeah, I agree with you. They need another personal rivalry, another rogues gallery. Like, we're talking about this in our other show about what Roman Reigns had during his title reign. Like, the people he beat were, like, so good, so different. And make you go, oh, man, it's going to be one of the best runs we've seen in the modern era.
Well, that's what makes Roman Reigns great, I think, as the champion, is that he instantly makes every single rivalry he has feel personal. It feel like it's more than just a shot at the title. I mean, John Cena comes back and is like, hey, I want to shot your title. And it instantly is like, this is personal. This is heated. Even though it was really just, hey, I want to shot at the title. You know?
Right.
There's no way you can have a match with Roman Reigns without it feeling personal. I think right now that's what MSK needs. They need to find a way to make it personal and not just athletic.
Yeah, and also LA Fletcher. Well, thank you so much for watching the show with us, sticking with us today. They need GYV back in the mix. I think it'll be Thatcher, Ciampa, MSK versus Dunn, Holland, GYV in War Games. And I'm not even a War Games guy.
You're not a War Games guy?
No, I never got it.
This show is over.
No, wait. NXT's is cool. I love it. But as a kid, and when they brought back War Games, and there was a big like, wow. For me, it was like I never quite understood the waiting rules. If I'm having a fight, why am I waiting in a cage? This makes no sense to me. I want to beat his ass now. But NXT, to their credit, has somehow translated it and made it accessible for people like myself to understand the importance of waiting for people to come down from that cage. So I give them a lot of credit for that, for making it a match to look forward to now. But historically, as a kid, I'm like, why are there two rings? I don't get it.
Oh, I've always loved it.
You're a WCW guy, though.
I am. WCW.
WCW. That's right, baby. The big boys play. Look at the adjective. Play. Jack Farmer got some further questions for you. These are things I've been doing, things I've been watching, observing, and watching the show this week. Let me know what you think. Bam. Number one, how long does KLR contend for a title? How long is she going to be in the mix before she says, I'm going for the strap?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think she contends in 2 takeovers. So not this next takeover, but the next takeover after that.
Damn. As you alluded to earlier, is it true WWE weddings never happen well? You're expecting something to be calamitous.
Yes, I'm expecting something to be massive and calamitous.
Remember when you said Hit Row be the biggest thing in NXT? Still believe it?
Yeah, they are the biggest thing in NXT right now. I mean, everyone can have their own impression of what they think is great, but really, what is the biggest thing in NXT right now, in your opinion?
Legado del Fantasma.
I like Legado. I like them the most, but I don't think they're the ones doing the most. I mean, they're doing a lot as far as putting on matches and stuff like that. But I think when you look at, for lack of a better term, the hit makers, it's Hit Row. They're the ones that are grabbing the headlines. They're the box office team right now.
You're right. The real face of the brand for the past couple of years has been Adam. Moving on. So that match next week, Ciampa O'Reilly. Yeah, Adam. Hey, his t-shirts are cheap on Shop Zone. Only $19. Get yours today before they get reduced, or take it off the market.
Yeah, before they get reduced.
Yeah, take it now before they get off the market. I was actually looking at it before the show started. I was like, do I want to get that or the NXT UK Enfield Football Club jersey? And I was going to get that, but after converting the dollar for pounds and shipping, it was like $90. I'm like, I'm fine. And I'm like, so I go to WWEshop.com. Tell you the point of this. I go to WWEshop.com, and lo and behold, there's no NXT UK merchandise on a brand they own. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Whatever. There's Imperium stuff, by the way.
Right.
So next week, we're talking about this earlier. Ciampa, O'Reilly, LA Knight, Pete Dunne are going to be in a 4-way number 1 contenders match for Samoa Joe's championship. I think it's Pete Dunne. You think it's Pete Dunne. But is there any opportunity
I don't think it's going to be Pete Dunne.
Who do you think?
I think it's going to be LA Knight.
Really? Why? What say you? Why say you?
Why say you?
Why say you?
He's the one with the most recent championship experience. He's the one.
Yeah.
He's the one that won a title last, and I think that he's the one who's on the hottest streak. I think he's the most, as far as being able to hop on a microphone. I would agree that Pete Dunne's been mad dogging Samoa Joe for a long time, and I think he needs to start backing that up a little bit. But I look at the guys in the match, and the guy who seems red hot right now, the guy who just seems primed and ready to go is LA Knight.
It's funny because in my notes I have Dunn's been teased he may win, but LA Knight could be dark horse. Wow. Jack, you're not like this today. Something's wrong.
Yeah, this isn't right. It's a new time.
And finally, is Elektra Lopez's body slam the most strongest body slam ever? Because Carmelo got flattened?
Maybe. She looks strong. She looks...
He was like, ow!
It is kind of funny. Yeah, if anyone else body slammed him, it would be like, okay. She looked like she could have pinned him after that.
Thoughts about Elektra Lopez, man? I mean, she's a new addition to the mix, but thoughts about that dynamic now? Seems like a hit row thing is still going to happen down the line. Just your thoughts about that?
I think it's great. I think we need more integrated tag teams stables with men and women involved who do some wrestling on both ends. I think that you need more of that. I don't like it when teams are like separated and like we're just this and we're just this. I like that you've got a crew that has someone who can do anything, and I think adding her is great. I think it helps neutralize the threat of Hit Row. And again, she looks strong. Like she looks like I want to see her in the ring. I don't know what her wrestling background is, but I want to see her wrestle. Yeah,
when she took off her jacket, I was like, yeah, she doesn't skip arm day at all. No. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. Which is great because again, I totally believe her being someone that would be drafted into Legado Fantasma. So yeah.
Right.
So Jack Farmer, about how time to get out of here before we do. Is that time for MVP of NXT? Or I ask you, who was the one that stood out for you on this show or UK?
This week, I have to give it to Wolfgang. Got to give it to Wolfgang. It's I didn't know I was going to give it to him. I don't want to give it to him because he beat my boy Sam Gradwell, but he made it forward in the Heritage Cup. He had a tough match. It was one that he could have easily lost, but he found a way to get through it. And I always believe if you get closer to a title, then you deserve this spot.
Man, Gradwell, Eddie Dennis, Nina Samuels, your picture is not doing well, man.
You know, it's a down month, but you buy the dip, Flobo.
That's true. Ride the waves into the moon when it's good, and when it's bad, just buy the dip.
Yep.
That's why I have all of this, MCI stock. So for me, it's Carmelo, man. I know, despite the fact he got the body slammed out of his boots and didn't get the win today, I felt like he looked like he belonged. I felt like if there's going to be a new NXT, based on what I've seen in the little snippet promos, I will build around that guy. Won the breakout tournament, probably going to go for a championship of his choosing, if not already going to plan to do that. Sorry, I say almost probably. He's going to do that.
Literally, he won a tournament.
What am I saying? This is why I'm terrible at my job. But anyway, I still think he's my MVP because this could be what NXT could be. This could be what they want, something brighter, something hard-hitting, but something different and fresh. People of color. Why not, baby? Diversification. Carmelo Hayes is my pick for MVP.
Yep, I agree. I think he could be all those things that you've said, and that's why he was a farmer's market pick.
Okay, then to put yourself over. That's great. But speaking of putting yourself over, we're not using Manscaped. Where can people find you and buy into your stuff?
Yeah, you can follow me at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. And boy, howdy, am I doing a lot. I am doing Wrestling Inc. on Mondays. I'm doing the Mania show for The Ringer on Spotify on Tuesdays. Got my Elite of the Week. Got Anytime Radio. Got Evolution of Movies. And I'm doing Draped in Gold here. The best way to keep up, though, again, at Real Jack Farmer across all social media.
Yeah, those boy howdies out of Seattle, I swear. I just old ranch hands out there in the Pacific Northwest.
Farmer strength.
Yeah, with that farmer strength. Well, you know me, man. I'm also the MacMania podcast for now. But in the meantime, check me out at Flobo Boys on Twitter, flobito.com. And also follow me on Instagram at Flobito. We back here next Thursday as I recap the season premiere of NXT, rebrand, repackage. We get all the thoughts and analysis. But until next time, Jack Farmer, say the words.
Do your best and be yourself.
I get it.